Hi, I'm Dr. David Geyer, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine specialist, and I provide commentary and education on injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention for athletes and active individuals, much like yourself, so that you can stay healthy and perform your best. And I see a lot of athletes in my practice that, and it could be team sport athletes, it could be just people that like to compete in events on their own, be it marathons or half marathons or triathlons, and they do it by traveling away from home. It could be a 16-year-old girls soccer player whose team, maybe she plays on an elite club team, and they're traveling halfway across the country to play in a tournament. And we see that all the time in Charleston with baseball and football and basketball. A lot of team sports travel, especially the really good levels, and they travel a long way from home. But you could be a marathoner or a triathlete. You could be just doing your first half marathon and you want to make it a really special event, so you travel across the country to a really big one. You may travel out of the country. So how can you, as best you can never prevent every injury and every illness, but how can you stay as healthy as possible when traveling away from home? So here's some tips that I'd like athletes and active individuals to consider before they travel to some sort of sports competition. How can you best stay safe? So the first thing that I would say is research the site. If you're going to a big city, they've probably got really good hospitals and medical staffs, but I'm really talking about the venue itself, where the competition's going to be held. Will they have physicians there and orthopedic surgeons or paramedics there? Or will there be athletic trainers if it's a team sports competition and tournament? If not, maybe your team, if it's a team sport, can bring an athletic trainer or a team physician with you when you travel. I think another thing that's really important, this is true whether or not you're, again, a high school or college athlete, or if you're an adult traveling to compete in an individual event, bring your medical records. Type up a Word document or something like that lists your chronic medical conditions and any past surgeries you've had, any medications you take. Certainly document any drug allergies you have or environmental allergies. You certainly don't want to be to have a doctor at a hospital scrambling to try to get that information by contacting your medical doctor or contacting a hospital. You want to do everything you can to make that easy. So get that document, maybe put it in your wallet, something like that. Along the same lines, maybe before you go, especially if you're an individual athlete, go see your doctor and get a pre-participation physical exam. If you're traveling out of the country, your doctor may suggest getting vaccines for illnesses that are specific to that part of the country. But just get any medical problems checked up, fine-tuned as best possible. Another thing you want to do is bring your medications. I think this is really important, and your doctor can help you with this, but make sure you've got enough of that medication or all your medications to last you through the entire trip. And make sure that the bottles are labeled appropriately. So if you're going overseas, you don't have any issues going through customs or anything like that. Now, along the same lines, in terms of things to bring, especially for the team sports, if you have an athletic trainer, they're going to probably do this on their own, but make sure you have basic medical supplies, things like sterile gloves and bandages, Band-Aids, tape. There's a lot of things, and I'll include a list of some things that you could potentially bring in the blog post that accompanies this, and I'll put it in the description of this video on YouTube. But just a list of things that your coaches can bring, or athletic trainers can bring in terms of basic medical supplies. Now, there are a couple things that can happen when you travel that are just somewhat bad luck, but you can do the best you can to try to prepare for those. If you're going to a foreign country especially, illnesses spread throughout the team, things like diarrhea. So make sure you wash your hands appropriately before every meal, just anytime you can, and even consider drinking bottled water. Another thing that can happen with really long bus rides or car rides or flights, you can get blood clots. We know that can happen, especially on flights. So you may consider wearing compression stockings to minimize that. Even consider walking around every hour and a half or so on the plane to kind of get your blood moving and minimize your risk of blood clot. And the last tip I have is probably the most important one, and that's to create an emergency action plan. Basically, one thing you would do is create a document that has everybody's phone number, every athlete and basically their cell phone number, the coaches, the team volunteers, and the event organizers. It might also list the hospitals, the nearest hospital where you want everybody to go, with the address and phone number. And you list basically who everybody should contact in the event of any kind of problem, and you discuss it before you go. Creating an action plan is really important. Hopefully these events will never happen, but it's always a good idea to prepare on the front end before something bad happens. So those are my tips. I'm curious if you've ever traveled for a marathon or half marathon or a team sports tournament. Has anything really bad from an injury or illness standpoint happened? And what would you have done differently to prepare for it? Or are there just tips that I forgot? I would love to hear your comments. So leave your comments below this video. Share those with me. I would love to hear what you think. Now, if you like videos like this and you want more information on injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention, subscribe to my video channel and you'll get videos like this every week. I'd be really grateful if you'd share this video if you have friends that travel to compete in sporting events or competitions, or if you have friends that are parents of young kids that travel for sporting events. Definitely share this video with them and maybe it'll help them as well. Finally, I share a lot of resources on ways to stay healthy and perform your best that I only share through my email list. So go to my website, drdavidgeyer.com, and sign up. It's absolutely free, and I'll send those resources to you probably on a weekly basis or every so often, and hopefully they can help you perform your best. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful for the next time you travel for a sports competition, and I look forward to seeing you next time.